As a mom of two boys, genuinely speaking, I feel like y'all don't do enough when y'all find out y'all sons could possibly be extremely misogynistic or starting to consume too much red pill incel content.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Now, in light of the video that I just posted the other day about the Black King who unalived his mom and little brother less than a week of getting out of prison, I was talking about some things that women can do possibly who have sons. I don't think there's a whole lot you can do, me personally, but there are a lot of you guys that do have sons. And I wanted to share a couple of stitches from some TikTok creators that I follow that talks about what they do and or have done for their sons. Now, I think this is some really good information. That's why I'm sharing it. I can't guarantee, they can't guarantee that this is going to be the end all be all, because you never know how these boys are going to turn out. You never know what they want. You don't know what they desire. You don't know. But I do think this is good advice. I do. And hopefully you guys can take something from these two content creators. That's the reason why I decided to share this. Now I'm going to go ahead and play these stitches and I'll come back later.
As a mom of two boys, genuinely speaking, I feel like y'all don't do enough when y'all find out y'all sons could possibly be extremely misogynistic or starting to consume too much red pill incel content. Because my son showed me one time, bitch, that he was on some stupid shit. I took all technologies, and for 8 hours straight, we was sitting in that fucking living room watching Lovely Bones. We was watching the story of Emmett Till, bitch. We was in that bitch watching about rape. We was in there watching about gay stuff and gay rape and all that type of stuff. We was watching about prison shit. We was in that bitch watching shit down. And after every single movie he watched, right along with me, with that motherfucking switch in my hand, because you ain't moving, nigga. Only time you moving off this couch is you want some water, you gotta go take a piss, or your ass want something to eat. Every single 30 minutes, I paused that motherfucking movie. Now, what did you gather from what the fuck was said? And I made him give me at least a 1 or 2 minute synopsis of what the fuck he learned from every 30-minute second of it. Y'all not doing your jobs, bitch. If you don't want your son coming out to being misogynistic and incelish, I mean, sit down and talk with them. Force them to take in shit that makes them learn empathy. Make them watch shit that we was forced to watch growing up. You see what I'm saying? Because as a young girl, I had to consume all that shit. I had to consume how it is being a black young girl in America, especially a young girl, and how quick it can be, how quick you can be perceived as fast, how quick you can actually be kidnapped off these motherfucking streets. I ain't watch all this shit for nothing, and my kids gonna watch that shit too. I'm raising empathetic, strong-willed men. I'm not raising no motherfucker that think it's cool to be a fucking sheep, that's cool to be an incel, that's cool to... Hell, fuck no. Do your jobs, y'all. Do your job.
Now, I completely agree with this creator's take on empathy. Empathy must be taught. And the fathers are typically not in their sons' lives anyway, but when they are, oftentimes their version of masculinity, their version of what it takes to be a man and all that, usually doesn't have any empathy anywhere involved in it. It's usually very toxic and misogynistic. So it's up to the mothers to teach the sons this. A lot of these men were not taught empathy as boys themselves. And so if they were, it didn't stick, which is the scary part about having sons, because a lot of times, no matter what you teach your sons, if they get out and get around the wrong males, they're going to completely undo that. Well, she talked about that later on. The other creator talks about this later on in the video. Whenever I hear women say things like boys are easier to raise than girls, I immediately know that she's not raising her son right. And that is just my own personal opinion. Because if you, it boils down to the whole boys will be boys mindset. If you think boys are easier to raise than girls as a woman, that means that you have the boys will be boys mindset. What does the boys will be boys mindset lead to? Men who are rapists, men who are misogynistic, men who are abusive, men who are cheaters, men who have no problem playing with women's feelings and emotions, right? Men who just turn out to be diabolical. They don't have any empathy. Boys will be boys mean you are going to let them get away with stuff because boys will be boys and they're just being boys and they're going to just do what boys do. And we know what society has taught boys to do. Be unempathetic. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a punk. Don't cry. Don't show your emotions. Go out and fuck as many girls as you can, right? Be a player. Have the money. Get the nice cars and the nice clothes and blah, 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 blah. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. All of that stuff, and none of it includes being empathetic and caring about other people's emotions and feelings. You have to teach them empathy. And you can start with maybe start with the first creator and how she was describing ways that she taught her son or is teaching her son's empathy. There's many other ways you can do this, whatever works for you, but you have to start somewhere. And you got to do it when they're young. Because once they hit puberty and beyond that, it's kind of too late after that. You just got to cross your fingers and hope everything you taught them that it takes. That's really all you can do when it comes to boys, because these men are toxic. The patriarchy in and of itself is toxic. It's like a very screwed up system. And so many boys are falling into this red pill incel mindset because they don't have positive male role models. That's the issue here. And so, you have to really take this into consideration. I always say this is exactly one of the top reasons why I chose not to have kids, because I don't want to have to deal with this. And I know for a fact I would not be okay if my sons turned out to be a misogynist, turned out to be abusive, turned out to be a serial unaliver, turned out to be a woman beater, turned out to be any type of rapist or anything like that. No matter what you teach them, like you try your best, and a lot of times they still turn out wrong. But I do think if women put in extra effort to teach their sons empathy and see what that looks like and what it feels like, you may have a better shot. But anyway, let me get into this next creator. I follow her on TikTok, Jazzy Reloaded. I love her content and her breakdowns. So let's get into her stitches.
So people often ask me, like, how do I have the results that I have with my boys? As y'all can see, right, because I done shown y'all them today. They doing the damn thing. My oldest is headed to college. My youngest son is performing well academically. They're respectful. They're kind. They always get good marks and like certificates and awards for their behavior, their leadership, et cetera, et cetera. People ask me, they say, how do you do that? How did you have that happen? Especially because I spent most of my time with them as a single mom, because y'all know I only got married last year, right? I keep them away from these men. That's my secret. That's my secret sauce. I keep them away from these men. I curated their environment, okay? Because I realized how negative behaviors and stuff was getting passed down through observation, analyzing, and research. I also gentle parent. I don't hit them, and I don't talk to them crazy, okay? I treat them how I want to be treated. That's my secrets. That's my keys. Okay. Hey, Lou. Okay, so this is a really good question. How did I come to the conclusion to limit access of men to my son? Okay, is because I've discovered that they counteract your parenting inadvertently. Okay, I don't think that they realize that they're counteracting your parenting, that they have full knowledge that they're doing it, but they are. So just overhearing certain conversations and certain stuff that they would say, even conversations that they have with each other when young boys are present, sends messaging to those young boys. All men are role models for boys. All men are role models for girls. Okay. Um, but not all men are good role models for boys. Okay. So let me speak a little bit to how I realized they counteract your parenting. Okay. So when you're trying to teach your son like empathy, compassion, kindness, caring about others, here comes a man. That's feminine. That's you raised him to be a sissy. You raised him to be a woman. And it's like, no, I'm raising him to be emotionally intelligent. But they will tell your son that you are raised to be empathetic, that that's not what they're supposed to be, because that's not what a man is. That's what women do. Okay. So now your son starts, Because he's trying to do what they told him to do as a man. Okay? And why is empathy important? How can a young black boy grow up to fight and care about a community when you never taught him how to care? Empathy is teaching someone to care about something else, to relate to something outside of themselves. So how can they learn to care about a community, to listen to all the needs of everybody in their community, right? When they don't even have empathy. Lack of empathy produces self-serving, self-centered, overly aggressive behavior in situations that they really could have solved by simply evaluating the situation differently. Another way that they counteract your parenting is through misogynistic messaging. So they'll be like, oh, women's supposed to be submissive and men are supposed to dominate women and you can't have no woman tell you what to do. If you telling my son that he can't have a woman telling him what to do, then why would he listen to his mama? Because I'm a woman, right? They think that when they say don't listen to no woman, that that they're supposed to automatically know that, oh, but not your mama though, even though the mama is a woman. Right. So you out here in the streets, men out here in the streets, giving our boys messaging that we are incompetent. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're talking about. When you need a man, you need a man to teach you that, you need a man to teach you that. Then they completely dismiss all the teachings of their mama, who's a woman, their teachers who are women, right? All the people around them that are going to be a part of raising them up. They're going to completely dismiss everything they tell them. Say, you don't know what you're talking about because I'm the man. Ha ha. Me man. You woman. So that is what led me to cut out a whole bunch of that. A whole bunch of that. And it has successfully worked. Mhm. And it's not to say that they should never ever have any like male influence at all. My husband influences, him. But my husband is also an educator who's not a misogynist, okay? And who will say, listen to your mama. And he gets to see this man treat his mama like gold, okay? He gets to see this man listen to his mother and value his mother's opinion, which role models to him that he should do the same, okay?
Now, I absolutely loved her breakdown of this. And in my opinion, that's exactly how it happens in most cases with boys. The men out in the world, their peers at school, the guys down the block, uncles, whatever men come around your sons, they are typically going to undo everything that the mother taught them. I used to hear rap songs from back in the day where the guys would be like, my mom prayed over me every day. She didn't raise me this way, but the streets was calling me. Right? Which is like terrifying. Like if I was a mom, I would be terrified for my sons because I would know that for the most part, I would be left to be a single mother probably. Whether the guy left or whether he died, it doesn't really matter. The outcome with these boys are usually the same. If they don't have a positive male role model, they're going to fall into the streets or they're going to fall into a misogynistic mindset or whatever. And it just is what it is. And that's why, to me, it's not worth the risk. But a lot of these men know exactly what they're doing. Because she was saying she don't think that sometimes these men know what they're doing. They do. They know exactly what they're doing. And then there are some that maybe they don't. But they will straight up say, your mom is a woman. She don't really understand what it's like. A woman can't raise a man. And boys seem to be just so specially prone to falling into the mindset of bullshit. It's like they could be taught something by their moms for so long, for so many years, agree with it and everything. But what they're really searching for is manhood. They're searching for role models to show them how to be a man. And unfortunately, in the black community in particular, there are more men who are absolute garbage than there are men who are good and decent. And so your chances of your son falling into the hands of the men who are trash is a whole lot higher. But as a mother, the only thing you can do is the best that you can do. And you have to at least try to instill empathy with them. Like the lady in the very beginning, you have to do stuff like that. You have to call it out in real time in that moment when you hear your son saying misogynistic stuff or incel red pill type stuff. You have to. I know if I had a son, that's what I would be doing. I would not put all the workload on my daughters if I had daughters. You know, everything would be equal down the playing field. Everything. House chores, curfews, all of that. But, you know, that's not something that I ever wanted to do. It seems like too much of a headache. So I opted out of motherhood a long time ago. And this was definitely one of the reasons, for sure. But anyway, I hope that their explanations helped you guys to come up with some ideas, or I hope that it, like, you know, tweaked your mind in some ways to where you can come up with creative ways to help your sons. That's really all you can do, is your very best. But anyway, I am going to leave it here. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share, comment, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.
All together, girls. 1, 2, 3. Fuck these men on the internet. They don't know what they want, but they will see what they can get. Oh, go and waste your one and only precious life while pretending not to have a full receding hairline. So keep your eyes on his hairline and your hand on your drink. For all you know, he is a psychopath. He'll leave you on red, and he won't care if you're dead. And the psychics on TikTok are wrong.